There we go. I think that's recording. Let's see what we can do here today. Okay. So for today, I'm going to start working on those pieces that I did yesterday. All of these lovely little bowls. You can see that they've gotten to a nice leather hard stage. They're all wonderful, round, a little flexible, nice and workable. So today we're going to put the foot ring on there. So to do that, we're going to get rid of all of that wonderful extra bottom on there. I got a nice little chunk of clay to secure things here. First thing you got to do is recenter the piece. So we're going to turn them upside down. The wheel has those nice little concentric circles on there just to kind of help you line it up. And just give it a little tap. I love tap centering, it's so much fun. There we go. So anyways, it feels nice and smooth, my finger's not bouncing too much. I'm going to take this chunk of clay here to make my chucks. I'm going to divvy it up into 4 little sausages. There we go. Put some pressure on there so it doesn't go shimmying about as I do this. And you're just putting these on all 4 sides. Okay, so first thing we got to do is make this nice and even, so we have a good flat surface to work with. I'm going to use my one of my little wire carving tools. This little guy, nice broad surface there. I'm going to hold it flat right down on the piece so that it's just sort of getting that edge right off. You can see I'm using both hands on the tool. That sort of ensures that it's going to be nice and steady, nice and even. Get that on. Okay, so now we got a nice flat, smooth surface to go by. We're going to make the outside edge of our foot ring. So I'm going to use the little pointy end there and just kind of go straight in. Just going to hold that nice and steady. This is why I leave so much clay on the bottom of my pieces, so that way I have, and not only does it support them when you're taking them off the wheel and keep them from distorting too much, but it gives you a lot of clay to work with so that you can really make sure to have everything carved out just the way you want. It really fixes the profile of the piece. I like doing a nice tall foot ring because not only does it just elevate the piece off the off of whatever surface it's sitting on, but it gives you a better idea of just the whole profile of it. It has a bit more of a finished look. Okay, so I've switched over to my smaller tool. Lovely little, I like the triangular ones best because you can get a nice vertical up and down there. So I'm going in and I'm cleaning up the edges from that first tool. All of my trimmings that are flying off here, except for the ones that are flying off onto the floor where they will never be found, all of those get just dumped right in the reclaim bucket. I actually have a little bowl sitting up here that I kind of collect them in. It's always kind of fun after the trimming is finished to grab all those trimmings, wad them up into a ball and think, oh wow, I just took out, what, like a pound of clay? Oh, look at that stuff fly! sort of a bongo thing there. It's a good habit to go ahead and tap your piece, because then you can hear how the sound changes as it gets thinner and thinner. It'll range from a really, thick thud to a nice hollow ringing. Just one of those things, the more times you do it, the easier you'll pick up on how the sound changes as you trim. I like to do a little detail on my foot rings, just to give it a little bit of character. So I do a nice little indent right there. Trimming is one of those wonderfully time-consuming things. 5 minutes to throw the bowl, 15 minutes to actually do the finishing work. So now I'm working on the inside of that foot ring. So I'm using my small tool still. I took the corner of it and just sort of used that to make a little guiding line of this is how far out I'm going to go. Then using the flat edge, just right back in there, just taking out a chunk at a time. A good way to think of your foot ring is as a separate piece of clay that's sitting right on the continuous body of your piece. So if you think about your piece, the inside has this wonderful rounded scoop to it, and then your foot ring is just set on there. So ideally you want the inside of your foot ring to be parallel to where the outside clay is. Sort of like, let me grab my favorite little sample one. This is a guy that I accidentally broke, and he managed to break right in half. So you can see you're going for an even thickness. It's almost one continuous shape all the way around there with just the foot ring stuck on. This was going to be a really cute little piece, but I was cleaning the window and I somehow landed on it. Now I just don't clean the window anymore. Learn from that mistake. I'm trying not to get my face in this image too much because I tend to make funny faces while I'm trimming. Some sort of pottery-induced duck face or something, I don't know. Also, please kind of ignore the big band-aid on my arm. I'm incredibly klutzy, and yesterday, just as I was finishing up, I got up and I was carrying some boxes out to my car of stuff that needs to go into the kiln, and amazingly I tripped on something, and in my process of flailing about managed to land just so that I hit the edge of my kick wheel and took out a big chunk of my arm. I find it just fascinating that I can make these wonderfully delicate little thin pieces and then immediately trip over my own foot. It's like a level of coordination that has been, it was a fair trade. Yeah, the sound's changed a little bit there. I tend to just go back and forth from working inside the foot ring to the outside of the foot ring. Just as, wherever I notice something needs to happen. There we go. You always want the outside shape to perfectly mirror the inside shape of your piece. Okay, that's looking kind of like a bowl now. I'm going to go ahead, I have my lovely little burnishing tool here. It's completely worn smooth on the side. I always like to burnish the inside of my pieces on the foot ring, just to give it that extra little finished quality. There's not going to be any glaze on the inside of the foot ring, so I at least need to make it seem you know, nice and finished. Alright, so there's my lovely little foot ring. The inside, little, you know, ta-da! And that's basically how we trim. Peace.